So, Jim, a guy who has had quite the offseason is Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, who is, for our money, everyone we've talked to says he's the number one corner for this draft. What did the Senior Bowl do for him from being around him and then obviously from the practices?
Yeah, it's crazy, Adam. We used to refer to small school players as like sub FBS guys, right? I mean, we had a lot of FCS D2s, couple D3s over my time here. But now because of the portal, I mean, group of five players are essentially small school players now. It's kind of crazy. And there's a lot of good football being played there. But, I saw something the other day that the MAC hasn't had a first round pick since 2017. And while over the course of his career, he's covered some good people, Western Michigan's had a couple good receivers, and but he needed to come down here and prove he could do it against, high level players. And on that North squad, that national squad that he was on, I mean, you had Ricky Pearsall and Roman Wilson and Tez Walker. I mean, he and Luke McCaffrey, he matched up against some really good people. And I think that's what put him over the top. And like I said, everyone I've talked to has him as the number one corner on the board. You get a guy with his skill set. And one thing you saw him do in Mobile that you didn't see a lot at Toledo is press man. I think he's a really physical kid, really strong guy. Goes to the combine, runs 4.33. So Q's had a great process. He's really kind of checked every box along the way.
Yeah, Jim, as reporters, Adam and I and everybody else who's there, we're kind of living two lives as watching the Senior Bowl going on and also trying to, catch up with people and network. It was
Sure.
impossible to not notice the one-on-ones you mentioned between Quinyon Mitchell and the Michigan receiver Roman Wilson, right? I mean, those were the early highlights of that and how fiercely competitive they were, and then respectful toward each other after. I thought that was just great competition.
Yeah, no, those two seem to get matched up quite a bit, and then at the end of I want to say it was the second day of practice. The coaching staff did kind of a competitive thing where they let a guy call out a guy on the other squad to go against. And I can't remember if Quinyon called out Roman or Roman called out Quinyon, but yeah, they had some really good battles.
People need to understand in this draft, there's no Patrick Surtain. This is not an unbelievable corner draft. There's some good prospects, as there always are, but there's not one guy that you go, hey, that's the guy. Although the only guy, in my view, that might be thought of that way is the second guy you mentioned, Quinyon Mitchell, just because he's much more of a traits-heavy player. He's bigger. He almost looks like a running back. His athletic testing measurables were really, really good. So he's got size, he's got speed, he's got physicality. He's super competitive. He was phenomenal at the catch point. The only thing is you're going to have to teach him a little bit how to play press. Because he hardly ever played press at Toledo. He almost always played off coverage. But when it came to plan and drive, click and close, whatever term you want to use, when you play off and you have to react to routes in front of you, he was explosive downhill, really explosive with his plan and drive from off coverage, and that's what he predominantly played.